Good evening, Speed Gaming fans, Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. Tonight, we are Week 4 Spring Tournament race for the Final Fantasy Randomizer. And tonight we actually have a really good matchup. We have both asher1611 and dengwoo, both who are recently graduates of the placed in the Final Fantasy Chaos tournament that we just got over with. Also, both these guys 2-1, looking to grab the win. As you can see on Asher's side, we have a thief, fighter, red mage, and a black mage, and it looks like dengwoo is going to follow suit and do the same thing. Tonight with me in the booth, I have Lyra SRL, and we have Hyrofellers on the tracking. Lyra, what do you think about this matchup tonight?
Good evening. This is going to be quite an interesting match because I've worked with dengwoo in the past, and Asher is quite talented as well. As you were saying, this is a 2-1 match, so there's plenty on the line for both of these runners. You definitely want to be in the 3 spot going into Week 5, where there's nothing more to do but to win or go home.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, as we let these guys go here in just a few seconds, we'll get to find out what we get at the white magic and black magic. But I really expect to see a lot of maybe the same thing going back and forth, as these guys have both battled each other in different practice seeds. So we'll see if they still maintain that, or if we find them, get off the beaten path and to maybe make a gamble here or there. So
I did see in the SRL room the timer has started for these runners, so we're just waiting for our wonderful introduction.
Alright, both runners off, running right up to check the white magic shop. And it looks like we have slow, fire, lock, and hold. And then in the black magic, where you see, cure 4, harm 3, mute, and exit in the white magic there. Nothing really good for black magic. It looks like maybe slow. Level 1 fire is going to be alright, but definitely not what these runners are definitely looking for.
These are amazing white mage spells. Cure 4, the power to cure all wounds, plus you cure any status debuffs that are on somebody. Harm is quite interesting too, because it deals a lot of damage to undead. Exit's super powerful, definitely at all times of the run. That black magic is just completely unfortunate for these runners.
Yeah, harm is actually good if the runners are forced to dive Marsh Cave, because there is a decent amount of undead down there now. Not everything is undead, so they will struggle probably if they can't run from some of the other stuff, but if they do have to make that dive to Marsh Cave, having that harm spell right off the bat will be nice. But looks like we see imps right off the bat with Thunder, so this could be a struggle right here at the beginning.
Hello, Thunder Imps. How are you today? Please don't kill... Oh, they have Cure 3 as well. Chat noting at least those spells are out of the pool. Potentially not, because we have what's called the Medusa script in Final Fantasy Randomizer, where some spell or ability tends to have 3 or possibly even more, as we've seen in some of these past seeds, to where that could be seen a lot more than once. We see a ribbon at the top half of the Temple of Fiends, though. What a great early...
Yeah, definitely that ribbon early find, but so far the encounter table, from what I've seen, is just not very friendly for these guys, whereas dengwoo decided to take the early strata, kill some imps, maybe get another leveler before heading up, and we see that Asher is taking on Garland using that Fire 1 spell.
Deng decided to go up to the castle, grabs the crown off the king, but decides to reset back after it was nothing proven to be useful for him. What an amazing seed this is going to be. This is like probably the slowest Garland we've seen in a while, but with minimal offense, there's nothing we can really do here.
Yeah, and like I said, this manipulation table at the beginning is just not too friendly. Like I said, dengwoo was struggling there to find a run long enough to get up here. He does manage to get up here. Now let's see if they runners are able to take out Garland and go from there.
The good news for our runners here is that Garland seemed to be a massive potato and didn't have anything in the way of offense, as Asher does pick up the crown, and we'll see what Sarah has for the first time, which is the ship. Ooh, we're going to sail the high seas, just like the theme of our...
That's actually a good find, because with the ship, logic is going to tell me that they're going to want to probably sail over to Provoca, see what's there, maybe sail down to Elfland. But then at that point, the runners are going to have to think, do we take the early marsh dive for the incentive location? Or do we, with the free canal, do we go check out Melman, Crescent Lake, Onrak, which are also potential, ideas? And I feel like the logic is going to say with the free canal, you're going to want to go there. But I know earlier in the week we had a seed where the same thing happened. They got the early ship, ran around at a little over an hour and a half. They ended up going back to Marsh, which actually held the floater and the loose item. So it was kind of trolly, the fact that it did that. So we'll see what these runners decide to do.
So, a little bit of shopping on Asher's side. Picked up 2 silver swords, equipped one to the fighter and one to the red mage. Probably not interested in keeping the thief alive. We have Vanilla Provoca, though.
Oh, that's a really good find, because they're going to get access to level 2 magic here. Plus, they're going to be able to kill the pirates and pick up an item.
Now, Asher reset out of that, potentially going back. Might have just done that on impulse.
I think it was because he had his black mage stoned, and he wanted to reset where his black mage wasn't stopped. I don't think he has any soft potions.
Understandable. Deng decided to check the Montoya cave. Didn't see much in there. But money is definitely nice this early.
Yes, definitely. Money is usually a struggle early game. And we find Fade in the level 2 magic shop.
Heal 3 was also there. Nuke, Fire 2, Temper. Level 2's loaded, while level 1 was completely lacking for the black magic.
Definitely level 2 magic is going to be a huge payoff. Now at this point, the runners could decide, you know what, we got access to Nuke, maybe get a couple levels and try to do that early Marsh dive. We'll see if anybody goes that route, or if they're going to, like I said, take the free canal, check out Melmond, go over to Crescent Lake and up to Onrak and check those locations.
The unfortunate thing about level 2 is that both Temper and Nuke are on that, and those are both high value spells for our runners, so do you take the potential extra levels here to get extra spells?
And access to Heal 3, I feel like a lot of people underutilize Heal 3. I think access to Heal 3 is going to be a huge one for these guys also, and it looks like Vicky hands off the Ruby.
Well, sailing the high seas, looks like we're going to be on this actual sea part for quite a while. This opens up potential checks for the Titan, but do you want to walk all the way over there, or do you want to try and wait for your airship is the question.
I think with them having the early ship and the Ruby, I feel like the runners are going to logically want to go check out Titans, because Sarda could be hiding, the canoe, the floater, or something that's going to be huge with them getting to different locations. But also we do have the crown, so like I said, we'll see if anyone takes up and maybe goes and turns in the crown, and like I said, try to do the early marsh dive.
So there's a question in chat. What the crown does actually is there is a castle, which is the castle of Astos, the elf king as it were. And when you turn in the crown to him, he gets kind of grumpy for waking up, and he does challenge you to a battle. Well, he's usually pretty safe to do, and you do get an item out of that. Plus, there's actually 3 chests that are locked behind the mystic key in that castle, so there's some value in going back potentially 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, there's also 3 trap tiles. 2 trap tiles hold mummies, and I believe maybe whiz mummies, and then I'm not sure what the other trap tile holds, but if you really need some early XP or whatever, and you happen to be in there, you can hit those tiles for a guaranteed encounter if you really want.
The good news about that is, if you find something early, like say a mage staff or a light axe, which I definitely recommend, going to Ice Cave is definitely a good play because it's incentivized, meaning there's going to be something for progression in there potentially. But those trap tiles that are located inside the key lock right there in Northwest Castle, definitely a great spot as well for our runner.
as we see dengwoo going to dock at the south dock and check out Elfland, which is Lafane Toga Party.
So for those that are new to the randomizer, Lafane is the town which you basically go in the end game. There's not much there early on. You'll get to see what potentially level 8 magic is for Black Mage for a couple of spells, but nothing really of value to anybody this particular week with the white.
As we see, dengwoo decided, you know what, I got this crown. Elfland didn't turn out to be what we hoped it would be, so let's go check out the Curse King and see what he's got in store. In fact, he's got the slab.
So we haven't seen Melman yet, is where you would turn in the actual slab to get it translated with the Great Dr. Un, but that's potentially in the vanilla location, which will be right accessible to us outside west of here, so you never know what we're...
And honestly, too, the odds of finding Melman, I feel, is pretty high because we still have 3 town locations that we can get to out of the total of 5 that are left. So I still feel like Melman is potentially in the pool without being locked behind, say, the floater. And if that's the case, you know, that could potentially give us another key item by doing the slab translation and then coming back to the Lafane people and seeing what they're holding for us.
So, fun fact, those spiders had frost on them. I didn't know they were actually winter particular.
dengwoo, though, decided, you know what, I got the slab. I'm not even going to check what Marsh has at this point. I'm going to go and I'm going to sail the seas because that's the name of the tournament. And we're going to hopefully explore and see maybe if we can find Melman, or maybe we can find Elfland, maybe we can find the canoe or the old men at Crescent Lake.
Honestly, as Asher runs back towards the ship, I don't value Earth with this particular set of spells, especially level 1 being so weak for offense. I think Dang's got the right idea here and just completely going on the high seas already and just running right past.
And speaking of Melman, Melman is Melman in this seed, so definitely going to be a payoff because he was able to get that slab. He can do the translation here, and then he can just turn back and go back to Lafane, which is at Elfland, and see what the men wearing togas are holding for us.
Silver armor there for 3k. That's actually a decent setup for the fighter.
Yeah, that's really good early armor to find.
After heading back to Conaria, potentially for item pickup.
It looks like we get level 6 for dengwoo fighting in the Zozo Melman. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Zozo Melman key flag, it allows the desert tiles in Melman to hold encounters of undead or pirates.
Even potentially, I've heard the vampire actually can potentially rest here as well. Well, vampires are kind of tough, especially with this spell selection.
And actually, finding Zozo Melman early, knowing that we have access to that harm spell prior to knowing Nuke or Fade, could have been a huge bonus for these guys if they wanted any early levels, but finding it after finding Fade and Nuke at level 2, it's not going to be nearly as a bonus for them getting XP, so...
We got Fog 2, Fast, Brack. Not a whole lot here either, but there's some decent spells for our...
And dengwoo says, you know what, guys? I think I'm going to go Titan's Trove and feed the Titan, and let's see if it pays off for him.
Poor hungry giant finally gets an actual lunchbox, and we're gonna see actually what Sarda holds by the looks of it as well. But 4 chests, you gotta gamble on. Katana, that's actually pretty decent for the thief there. That's on par with the Vorpal, which is the legendary blade of critical hits, which is a fan for some, not for others, but that's okay. As long as it kills chaos, we definitely don't mind what weapon.
And Asher, like I said, these guys are basically running like side by side, almost holding hands going through this seed. It's as if they both know, you know, what the other one's going to do. And I kind of predicted that the way these guys have played, you know, prior to the tournament race where they got picked today. So
Dengwoo showing us what the real Tiger uppercut looks like as Asher is going to go ahead and feed the Titan. Yay, Titans are fed. Probably gonna check out the Titan Trove treasure room on the way back, though.
the one thing that concerns me right now is the fact that we haven't seen that I saw either warp or exit. So that means it could still be potentially 3 or 4, or it could be locked out for these runners, which is going to make certain dives such as waterfall or doing the warp trick in Ice Cave a lot more difficult if they don't have access to those.
Chat reminding us, we did actually see exit super early on, it just wasn't learnable, right? I believe it was in slot 4 of level.
Alright, so that's, I believe that's what, Red Wizard learnable?
Yeah, just not Red Mage. Unrunnable Giants here, though, or rather...
Both our runners go and talk to Sarda, who is holding the Rubik's Cube.
Late game progression, not early. This is gonna start favoring more and more towards Marsh required, though. Or possibly an Earth Cave dive here for something that's in a treasure box and not in an actual ascent box.
And I actually like this play by dengwoo. I feel like he's going to check the top floor, doesn't find what he wants, he's going to exit out. Maybe hoping that, you know, one of those loose key items are going to be hiding out on one of these floors that a lot of people just, you know, hate diving right at the start, so.
As we're going to see what Deng runs into, we run into the Great Snake Asps. Well, let's see if we're actually going to set out of this or potentially blast them. No, we're just going to run away.
Now Asher, on the other hand, says, you know what, I don't like the Earth Cave play, so I'm not going to make it. He just is going to walk right on by, head back, probably get in a ship, and go find a clinic to potentially maybe get that thief back, unless he plans on just running without it.
Strike 2 for Dengwoo. Nothing interesting on the floor so far, but there is one more set of rooms to check. Opal Gauntlets, 200... That's a complete wash, unfortunately. Dengwoo's actually going to walk the Opal Gauntlet out for money by the looks of it. And we have Cobras. Pick someone's on GM.
I personally think I would have just reset out. I don't feel like the Opal bracelet was valued enough to walk out.
Yeah, the Opal Gauntlet's just money. The Opal bracelet would be great, but we haven't seen
Oh yeah, that's what I meant, the gauntlet.
Yeah. Chat noting out, what the Thief gives us for a randomizer, not only a high runaway potential, which is great for early game, but with the right setup, and you say you have, say, Ruse, or White Shirt access, and then Saber on a Ninja, that can swing pretty darn hard.
It looks like Asher's planning a camping trip as he loads up on these tents.
Yeah, cheap save items, and they can be used pretty much anywhere that's not a dungeon, so definitely the right idea to stock up on a whole bunch of them.
Yep, also be used in that manipulation of the encounter table. If they can find a couple decent runs in the encounter table, the tents, cabins, or whatever they have for save items will be huge in being able to manipulate the encounter.
Now, without Canoe, what do you think they're going to do next? Do you think we're possibly going to see something running up towards, where am I thinking? Crescent Lake, possibly? And just taking the really, really long way of...
I feel like dengwoo's going to stop at the south dock at Elfland, turn in the Lefane slab, and then probably from there work his way over to Crescent Lake and then maybe up to Onrak. I kind of like this play because he's going to be able to do both the Lefane play and the Onrak play without having to come into the inner sea just to come back out to the outer sea.
Here's our early turn in for the slab. We get the rod out of it.
Rod could mean an early Earth Cave dive, which I'm sure everybody loves to see the early Earth Cave dive.
Our runners certainly probably aren't interested in that. Looks like Ash is going to go ahead and head to Marsh instead, though, as dengwoo is going back to... So you go ahead and grab that rod. Chad basically trying to shoo the rod away. You do need it for progression eventually, you just don't want to see it.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with Earth Cave Dive having to do it early is it's not super chest density, but the mob types and the encounters in there can just sometimes not be very pleasant. So if you have to do that early dive, it's kind of like, you know, doing the Marsh Cave Dive early. Nobody wants to do it, so you avoid it if, you know, at all costs, if at all possible.
Looks like dengwoo is going for a ride here around the world. Asher is going to go ahead and check the top floor of Marsh. We're going to check these chests here. We've got a little bit of money. Not great.
I like this play by Asher because he knows Marsh is incentivized. He's gotten a few levels. He does have access to nuke charges, and he's already at Elfland. So I feel like this play is in logic for him.
Question from the chat. Yes, Marsh is definitely incentivized. There's going to be something in here we need, and it looks like it's going to be mandatory at this point to go.
And like I said earlier, dengwoo decides, you know what, I'm going to check out Onrak. So he sails all the way over, uses that south dock, and he's going to come on up and see what we have here, which is Elfland.
Kind of not surprised that it ended up being out Elfland, but we're going to check level 3 and 4 magic here. Lightning 3 for black magic's actually pretty...
And Quad X is really useful too. So that's not bad for black magic. The only thing I don't... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're definitely right about the Quad X thing. I would throw that on the black mage. I wouldn't necessarily... Well, yeah, now looking at the red magic for level 3, I would definitely just put it on both of them.
And I kind of agree with Spellzap. He's got that katana. Sell it, because we still know that there's still one more katana out there. As long as the katana is a decent value, he could potentially pick up all the spells and maybe some equipment here by selling that katana that he had.
Harm 4, Lightning, or excuse me, Fire 3 up in the level 4 slots, as Asher does find a Light Axe, definitely confirming the wonderful potential of early Ice Cave, as once we find the kill.
And he finds the herb in the incentivized chest in the Marsh Cave.
The floater for about 10,000 gold. That's unfortunate that it's so expensive for our runners here.
Wow, that's actually... That's good knowledge for him right now, because he's got some stuff to sell, so he might be able to sell and go ahead and pick that floater up. So
oh, Deng's going straight for the weapon shop. Definitely going to sell that katana off. You are right. There is 2 in the game, and you only need 1 of them. You can't dual wield them in this.
And if for some reason that herb leads to, say, the ribbon or another item that maybe isn't necessarily needed for progression, not making that play by dengwoo could actually pay off in the end.
Deng bought a bunch of items. Didn't want to buy the floater for some reason. This might be a reset just to make... But did he save outside is the question.
I'm not sure what he's planning on doing. I mean, is he going to try to fight outside maybe? With those early spells, trying to maybe make up some money? I mean, I couldn't see.
Goes back in and saves at the end. Looks like that's going to have to be the play here, since selling all that stuff instead of taking the floater out. Asher does find the trance party, though. Everybody get your hypnotic patterns and raves.
It's like from the direction that Deng was going, he's going straight to the floater desert. So I want to say that he picked it up. We might have not have seen it.
Possibly with the katana money that was left over and selling the opal gauntlet as well. That potentially gave him enough for all of that, and then the floater as well.
Yeah, I couldn't see him selling all that and not, but also to bring up there back in Onrak, housing market super cheap in this seed. Usually in vanilla they're around 3,000 gold. Finding houses at 612 gold is a steal for the housing market.
Our lovely tracker hire fellows definitely confirming that he went south, came back, sold the thing, and then bought Floater as well. Now, this is definitely the play for dengwoo. Asher's going to be really far behind unless he managed to go town hunting.
And yeah, and like I said, I agree with chat. I honestly think the play was to dig up the towns. I feel like the potential there was a lot greater early on than say hitting Marsh early. So
yeah, Marsh turning up the loot for the herb. That's really bad for Asher. Asher's going to have to definitely go over to Onrak/Elfland soon.
And at 23, just under 24 minutes, dengwoo picks up his floater. We do know that Marsh Cave will be incentivized and required for dengwoo before the end of the game, as the loot will be required, but definitely a location that he can search last.
So Dang actually discovering the canoe at Crescent Lake. That's super vanilla, as the positioning of the confused old man was definitely right in the right spot too. We didn't see a magic check here though, so potentially, yeah. Got Cake, we got Bane in slots 2 and 3 for level. Skips the white magic. There was also pro rings here for about 10k and change, so that's something to come back later.
Yeah, definitely. I think there were 18,800.
It looked like only 10. But Dang's not interested in sticking around here anymore. Potentially checking what Lefane is? No, skipping straight to Gaia. Here we go. Vanilla Gaia, though.
So that means that Lefane is going to be the on-rack play, and I don't expect any of our runners to even bother going down there and checking until after we have the Oxtail.
Now, Dang stopped and checked for the spell slots in Gaia there. It was locked too, and chat confirming pro rings for 18k. My eyesight with the zeros and eights, a little bit confused there. But we do find unrunnable friends, Steak and Wings party. You're gonna have to blast them or reset out of it.
Yep, and I like this play. Dengwoo's got early magic. He's not super low level, but he does have the canoe, so he'll be able to go to ordeals. Probably pick up a couple levels going through here. Sadly, not having access to the warp could give him troubles, you know, going through the warps or not, but I feel like this is a good play. We're going to be able to find out what another incentivized item is. Maybe it's a tail. He can check Cardia and then do the promotion. If not, I feel like the next play for him might be to go back over towards Onrak and check the waterfall.
So Asher actually checked level 6 white. There was life and life 2 on the same list. That's really
That's brutal.
The seed taking our poor runners for a ride here as Asher picks up the canoe.
Now, see, this could be all right for Asher, because he doesn't know what is at the on-rack location, but he does have the canoe now. So once he goes up there and finds that the floater is up there, if he wanted to, he could choose to dive the early waterfall and potentially not have to come back and double dip that, like we know dengwoo's going to have to.
That's definitely a true point. Now, Asher is going to go ahead and nope away from Crescent. Not interested in taking the long trip over to Volcano or Ice Cave. It takes back to the ship.
And as far as,
red gargoyle.
and like I said, as far as things are going now, I don't know if I could potentially say if somebody's in the lead. We do know that Asher did go to Marsh early. Dengwoo avoided that, but with the routing that Asher's done, he's not going to have to double dip the waterfall on-rack location like Dengwoo's going to have to, and then later Dengwoo's just going to have to hit up the Marsh Cave anyways to get his herb that'll turn into a loot. So I almost want to say that they're probably relatively pretty close, although they did have a little bit of a divergent in their routing. I want to say it's still pretty close, almost too close to call still.
Dengwoo decided to go to ordeals instead, and instead of going to the Starry Islands for actual like decent sets of equipment and money potentially really early. I like the interesting routing here. Asher eyeing that on-rack play now, definitely with Canoe. Goes to check bottle vendor instead, but we already know the vendor item is completely something.
That's one play that I really like seeing. I see a lot of runners that'll come up to on-rack even when they have the canoe and they don't bother checking the bottle vendor because a lot of them just realize, okay, when I get the floater, I'll just land on it. But sometimes you forget. And I've actually had a seed where the bottle vendor was the floater. So being able to do that early check, I feel is definitely the move to play there.
Asher discovering the level 3 white magic as complete potatoes as Deng is completely checking the top floor here. Not so much so far. Opal shield, wooden shields, a bit of money here. The incentivized item is the Oxy Ale though, so that definitely opens up.
Definitely going to be a required item, but other than that, there wasn't really much down here that I saw for dengwoo. Picked up a house, an opal shield, I believe, so as long as he still has that opal stuff when he does find the tail, he'll have a little bit of gear for his fighter, but otherwise not really much else there.
Asher grabs the floater out of the item shop, immediately runs off, just straight to level 4 to go check. We have our Agamet cousins here for the first time. Asher taking some items here for the road onwards for the magic. You were saying?
I was just saying, and dengwoo runs into hydras. A lot of times hydras roll super high HP, and they're just things you don't want to deal with.
Definitely not the most ideal thing to grind. That's why you generally want to avoid going from Crescent to Ice Cave or Volcano with a canoe.
And Greggly Puff asking in chat, sorry effects. Saris are the distant cousins of the Agamas and the other relative of the iguana.
We have a Mage Staff and Heal Staff right there in the Cardia Islands cabin. Silver Axe, nothing special. A little bit of money. A little bit of money again. This is a very little money, you know.
Mage Staff is always good to have. You can equip it on a Black Wizard if you wanted to after class promotion, but just putting it in the first weapon slot or any weapon slot of any light warriors when used in battle casts fire too. So if you need AoE on a character that's not doing anything, you can just slap the old Mage Staff on and, cast the fire too as you need.
Asher definitely finding out Apocalypse Ponies hit like a truck.
Loose key for dengwoo in the Cardia Isles. And the crystal. Wow. That's crazy.
These odds are ridiculous right here. Deng is definitely going to be happy about it.
Deng was like, well, I need to get the waterfall done and out of the way, so he's headed right up there to do the waterfall. Yep, I was like, oh, maybe he's decided not to.
Asher turning on these palette swaps basically has given us a lot of interesting looking monsters so far. There's the Apocalypse Pony.
Nope, we just got debated by dengwoo. He decided, you know what, I'm not gonna go do that play. I'm gonna go turn in the crystal, I think. Or check the key lock chest.
Nothing here, check. Everybody take a drink. Dang is checking key lock Northwest Castle. Let's see what we got here. Opal bracelet, that's a big one. A little bit of money. Ice shield.
Face shield's good, but yeah, that opal bracelet find is huge because I feel like a lot of people when they check the key lock chest sometimes will forget the 3 here as well as the 3 up in Temple of Fiend.
Oh, for sure. There are chests that people don't tend to check unless they absolutely have to, for what I've seen at most of this.
A lot of them will go for the more dense locations, which would be Carnary Castle here, you have 6. Dwarf Cave, I believe there is 7, and then 4, I believe, in Elfland Castle.
I think, yeah, you were right, it's 7. I believe it was actually 8, but super close there. Nothing in Keylock. Oh, hello, Vorpal.
Game Changer.
Power Bonk right next.
The Game Changer and the Game Changer 2.0 next to each other in Carnary Castle.
What an intense value for our runners here, right next to each other. Now the question is Asher actually going to check that a little bit?
Will Cleosis would be proud that this seed stuck both the Game Changer and the Power Bonk in chests next to each other.
Chat pointing out different names for a game creator room, the game enhancer. I like to think of it as the game genie at that point. It grants all your wishes, as Falconic joins us in another member. What a train wreck you run into here, Falconic. Well,
Ribbon, which is nice for dengwoo because he didn't check the Temple of Fiend's original chest like Asher did. So Asher, if he comes back and does that crystal turn, we'll actually have access to 2 ribbons versus the 1 unless we see dengwoo go back and get those unlocked chests there in the Temple of Fiend. So
we shall see for sure.
Woods decides he's got those 2 items. He knows he's got to check incentivized location, so Marsh Cave it is, and he's not even gonna bother with the top. He's like, I'm going straight for the box because there's no more loose items. I'm going straight for the item and I'm getting out of here.
With that knowledge, you definitely think you're pretty much in a state of go mode, as it were, even though it's super. Now, Deng has the levels to go through Marsh a lot easier than Ash.
The only issue that I have with these runners finding both loose items so early in Cardia Isles, which we know Asher hasn't been there yet, but he will soon, is their equipment is still not up to par. So it's a matter of how many extra chests are we going to check in order to try to gear up before we consider ourselves truly in go mode.
Dang, finding that light axe there too. Useful for later on. These wizards didn't seem like they had much. Zombie dragons look like frost dragons, to be honest.
1 lit 3 clears up the wizards. He's gonna collect his herb.
Not without a victim, though. This is looking kind of scary for Asher, right next to the actual way. Oh, takes the wipe!
Those zombie dragons just gave the business to Asher.
Super unfortunate there. Deng's gonna go ahead and walk out of Mars.
The bonus that he does have is he does have the knowledge of the pillars to take, so it should be a quick dive back down there, as well as if there's any chests he may want to get, or if he's just gonna go grab the oxale and just, try to get out at that point.
Honestly, with the well, we saw the katana get sold, but we saw Vorpal, Power Bonk right next to each other. Do you really want to find something for that thief, or you just want to go ahead and just let him take a small nap instead for the Temple of Fiend?
I mean, it's nice to have him, but we didn't really find a lot for him until we do the class change. If we don't find class change, at this point I feel like he's good, but only in some situations. And I feel like Asher is just going to maybe wait and see if he gets a tail. That way he can learn maybe level him up, learn some spell slots, get the nuke or whatever. Or if he's just going to bring him back in Temple of Fiend just to try to get the quick runs in as far as he can go through TOFR before maybe it dies.
There's not too much left that will actually troll Dang with all these particular items here, like the airship. The worst I can possibly see is like something giving like adamant or TNT, forcing you to go to Dwarf Cave and then whipping around back and forth.
Dang was gonna go turn in his herb and claim his violin.
Also, the check afterwards. Thank you for tuning into the Elfland exchange. Please be sure to exit to.
I feel like at this point he's gonna go to Ice Cave. I think, because I think he wants to know what's in there.
Oh yeah, Light Axe. You have Nuke in a good spell slot. I think it's time for Ice Cave.
And I think he's hoping to find the chime here, or maybe something that leads to the chime. The tail would also be a good find, but I think at this point, I think dengwoo wants to get the chime to know that he has basically all the required items to go, and then he can decide which fiends he wants to start taking out, which boxes he wants to check in order to get the equipment that he wants, so he's in a good position for Temple of Fiends.
Absolutely. Asher finally makes it out of the wonderful ordeals that tripped him up a little bit a second ago. The Hydras have Stinger. That's pretty annoying with a few pure potions.
And it was nice, the one big thing we noticed here versus dengwoo is Asher, after he got the airship, he also had, or after he got the floater, he also had the canoe. So rather than pick up the floater and come back, he stopped right there at Ordeals with the boat as a closer docking point and was able to get that out of the way, go get the floater, and then he doesn't have to park over by the Mirage Tower just to walk over to get to the Ordeals area. So
Gonna find out what's in the ice cave, right?
sadly, not having access to that warp, like I said, could pose troubles, because I feel at this point dengwoo probably just wants to come in, grab the chest, get out, and maybe check the other locations like Armory or some of the other denser locations, mermaids, in order to pick up that gear that he may want.
So the undead party pack there, they are not particularly well versed in education as well. And whips out the quad X on that poor spell zap. Black Mage.
It just must be that Undead Party has had bad experience with Spell Zap, because although Spell Zap, a recent Duckling graduate, plays like he has been playing this game for, 2,000 years. I mean, the guy is just so good. And, I mean, I don't blame the Undead Party for being like, you know what, Spell Zap's in this party, we gotta take him out.
So the Quad X returns to strike Greg down as well. Dang down to just the Red Mage, but the Red Mage does have a ribbon on, so only a 1% chance to wipe this. As we welcome more and more of our particular community into this wonderful train wreck that we've gotten. We wish you a wonderful evening here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a slow start with that level 1 magic. Also, Imps having Thunder. No really good encounter manipulation at the start, so they all struggled just to even get into Temple of Fiends in order to take out Garland. But once they were able to do that and check over the original town of Provoca, being Provoca, picking up the nuke spell, it really, really boosted their magic. So, but like I said, it was a really awful start for them at the start.
So Dang took the wipe before getting out of Ice Cave, nopes on out of there, and moves on back to Crest. Grabbing some pro rings here, pretty solid strategy.
Able to pick up 2 pro rings, not a bad purchase whatsoever for dengwoo.
Mages don't seem to have anything special.
One thing I noticed a lot of people don't do in races that I've seen before, when they have the power bonk, they'll put it in the first slot of the person that they want to cast it. But a lot of times people forget that you can actually equip it as an item, and they just have it unequipped in the first slot for their fighter.
Generally when you have something like a Pro Cape on or a Pro Ring, you don't really want to equip Power Block right there, but you're definitely right, it is useful.
A lot of people would have seen that 43,000 Vorpal and would have been like, yes, please. But dengwoo says, you know what, that might come in handy. I'm going to hang on to it for now. So definitely making Will Cleosis proud by, able to sell that and turn it into a pro ring, but chooses not to.
Taking the proper way of dealing with this seed and already having an endgame weapon, you don't want to get rid of it right away unless you absolutely. Heads back to Ice Cave though, ready to get this to round
2. Asher finding iron armor, so not a bad find, but we do know that the silver armor is available at Melman for I think 3,000. I'm surprised no one's gone back there to pick that up since that's the best armor that our runners have access to so far, and it's sufficient armor.
So, Asher running into those rates there. Down to just 2 light warriors.
Undead in this week 4 flag set, the undead have just been unpleasant out of all the seeds I've either played or have watched. I don't know what it is about the undead, but they've had like everything you don't want them to have.
Indeed, indeed. Low net EXP, but Asher chooses to just skip right past. Chooses to also put the red mage up in slot 1. This is pretty spicy, I think. Without life, though, it's generally meant to be just tanks the best.
Wow, Ice Cave holding over 51,000 gold with 2 chests, one having 30-some thousand in it, the other one having 24,000 in it, so
Asher finds the chime right there. That was definitely required. Now, just getting it out before getting blasted. And dengwoo still has the mage staff.
Ice Cave proving quite difficult for both of our runners.
What an Ice Cave we have here today.
If either of our runners are able to pull out this chime, that's like I said, that's going to open up a bunch of possibilities. Do they go check Volcano Armory for gear? Do they go straight up to the Sky Tower and check the first couple floors of Sky for potential upgrade?
With Chime and Cube, I'm more intent on potentially going up to Sky first, even at a little bit lower levels. With the tail, I would be even more thrilled about going Sky first, but Volcano, we know it doesn't have the tail as a loose item since we've already saw both of those.
Yep, and we know that they also have yet to be gone to Onrak, which is going to be in the original location of Onrak. We do have the Oxio, so that's another potential area that they could go with the Sea Shrine and the Mermaids actually holding a decent amount of chests.
I don't think that's actually a bad play at all, considering. Asher takes the reset out and just completely nopes out of Ice Cave, moves over to the volcano to try to warm up. Dengwoo unfortunately just completely escapes that pack of 6 raids that all of them had left. So far we got Asher finding a great axe in that first box, chooses to skip the long hallways instead going straight to the armory. A little bit of money, there's the Pro Cape, that's actually a good find. Black shirt, that's a great find as well. Iron staff, nothing special. Gonna take a moment to move up the black shirt. Honestly, now, do you give it to someone that's able to cast spells, or do you give it to someone that's doesn't have anything to do, which Asher moves it up to the fighter. I think that's the better play that most people would actually do. But again, it changes depending on the runners. Grey Worm's nothing special there. A little bit of money, wooden staff. A lot of money there. Let's see. Armory, Opal Gauntlets, Flame Armor is actually a really good find as well. But I don't know if I would keep this. A lot of money would say yes, but actually gonna go ahead and check the 2 chests up there. Giant Sword, Fire Elemental Ambush, leaves poor Spell Zap at 1 HP.
Looks like Fire Elementals with Ruse and Heal too. Well, we have our runners, one in Volcano, digging out chests, and dengwoo trying to claim his chime. Let's go ahead and take a minute and talk about the other tournaments we have coming up on the Speed Gaming Networks for the Final Fantasy Week 4. Tomorrow we are going to have Doogie MacGyver and Sonya Wrath, and that'll be at 1 p.m. We have Crab Cakes versus Shadow Walker 227, and that'll be at 8 p.m. Wab 124 and Hyro will be also at 8 p.m. tomorrow. And it looks like Gouda 632 versus Ali Gerbrap will be at 9:30 tomorrow. And these, I believe, are all going to be on the Speed Gaming family of networks. And for the Crab Cakes versus Shadow Walker at 8 p.m. tomorrow, that'll be done commentary by our very own Will Cleosis. So make sure, if you guys are looking for some Final Fantasy action, to check in tomorrow, because there's going to be a lot of races going on tomorrow.
So, question in the chat. All these time zones will be in Eastern.
That is correct, yep.
Just told us. So the other commentators for that big match to pair up with Will haven't been decided yet, but go ahead and stay tuned to the Discord and we'll be able to tell you a little bit more later on. Asher actually checking out the rest of the long hallways here. Didn't find much else to see.
Now, Asher hasn't been, as far as I've seen, Asher hasn't been to Cardial, so he's probably still digging out loose items at this point, I want to say.
Oh yeah, you definitely saw the Route of Virgins right here. Heal 2 on the Red Hydra.
With dengwoo having the knowledge and the items from Cardia, I'm going to feel like that's going to put him in the lead at this point, only for the fact that he only has to dig chests at this point that he wants to dig in order to get the gear that he's looking for at this point.
Chat pointing out, match of the week is potentially the match we have going on right now, and we definitely appreciate you all for coming in tonight. This has been quite an adventure, Braxis, and I'm so happy I've actually got the cast with you.
Yeah, like I said, out of all the races this week, I actually put in for this one, and the reason is both Asher and dengwoo, like I said, are recent graduates of the Ducklings, as well as myself. So the three of us have been around and done a lot together, and have raced many of races. So the fact that I get to come in here and work with Hyro Fellows, who also is a Duckling, and we get to, share it with all you guys, I mean, has just been, amazing. So I'm really glad I was able to do it. And like I said, so far it's been an amazing race, and I really hope it continues to be an amazing race.
For me, it's the later on in the evening that it is, the more likely I am to be able to be available for these. dengwoo coming across the Apocalypse ponies. Definitely a lot better geared than Asher was coming through here. Definitely makes it to the robot room coming up.
And Olga125 in chat, Ducklings, question mark. So when you come into the Final Fantasy Discord and you want to start racing and doing randomizers and things like that, they put you in a category of Duckling. It's kind of like, we like to call it as, the beginners are starting out, but we just call them Ducklings. And as you progress and get better, then you're able to graduate out, and then you can participate in maybe some of the bigger races and feel more comfortable playing with some of the veteran players and things like that. So
now, anybody's welcome to join in the tournament. You don't necessarily have to be a Duckling graduate, but it definitely helps your odds as you gain the experience to potentially deal with some of the nastiness of these particular things.
Yeah, and I agree. And I
actually
ran quite a few races as a Duckling, but I feel like the Duckling, starting out as a Duckling, helps build a lot of people's confidence if they've never raced on a restream like this, or they're nervous, or things like that. I think it just kind of like helps them get into it and build it up just a little bit. So, and the best thing about it is it's judgment free, whether you're good, bad, or whatever. Nobody judges you here. At the end of the day, everyone's here. We're all here to have fun, and that's what it's about.
That's actually an interesting thing. Dang completely noped out after grabbing that TNT. We didn't see what was in those chests. I don't think Asher made.
I'm actually surprised he wouldn't check the chest because they're right there in front of you. He doesn't even have to go out of his way really to check.
Dang completely being in like pretty much item go mode, so I can see why. But still, if you're right there and it doesn't cost you that much, except for maybe 1 or 2 random encounters inside that room, I would definitely do it.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that. I feel like at this point, dengwoo is just trying to collect the rest of the items he might need for Gomo, and maybe looking for that tail so that he knows he can class promote. He's got a bunch of gear for class promotion, and I want to say that that's what he's digging for at this point, because other than maybe trying to find like Mass Immune, I can't really see him digging a whole lot.
So, as we saw, the Agmas there have haste/fast on them. That's kind of scary. The TNT turns into the Adamant, which is super convenient for dengwoo. Chat's asking for a recap. You want to go ahead? Found another ribbon, by the way.
Alright, I'll do my best to do a recap. So, we started out, the king gave us a crown, Sarah gave us a ship, Provoca was Provoca, which held Vicky and the pirates, who gave us the ruby. Astos was the slab. We also found out that Elfland was not Elfland, but instead they were having a toga party, and it was the Lefane people. The ruby sent us to Sarda. Stardust gave us the cube. The Crescent Lake was Crescent Lake. When we turned in this slab translation to Lefane, we got the rod. Marsh Cave held the herb. Onrak was actually Elfland, which held the vendor item for the floater, which was 9,900 and some gold. The herb we sent back to the prince, turned into the loot. The Crescent Lake old man gave us the canoe. Ordeals gave us the Oxiel. We found 2 loose items in Cardia, both in the same Cardia Isle, which was the key and the crystal. Matoya gave us the ribbon for returning her crystal. Ice Cave had the chime. The robot had the TNT. Nirik, turning in the TNT, gave us the adamant. The blacksmith gave us the bottle. And turning in the bottle to a tiny fairy yielded the tail. And the only other place we haven't been to is Lefane. We know Lefane is Onrak, because Gaia is original Gaia.
What a wonderful job that was, thank you. So Gregory Puff question in the chat, is this even randomized? Yes, because Imps had thunder and completely blasted these guys right up.
56 minutes in, Asher is going to attempt to take out the Fiend of Fire and claim the first orb.
Let's see what Carry 1 has. Nude for Big Walk. We come out. Blizzard from Carry right off the quick adjustment.
Carry came to play today.
Nuke 118, a little bit. Oh, hold there. Paralyze the fighter. Turn of Ink. Dark 2. 174 nuke from there. Blaze on Carry as well. She completely came and just wanted this over super quick.
And she rolled hit points. He's trying to throw the quad X, and it actually missed.
Asher remembering Cure 4 was the thing that cured status ailments too. Definitely coming in handy right there for our fight.
Yeah, and that's the one thing a lot of people don't realize is Cure 4 will heal your party up to max, but if used in battle like that, it will cure status effects. Now, if you try to use it in the inventory screen, it won't cure the status effects. It'll just heal you. But when used in battle, it will cure things like poison. It'll cure like stun. It will not cure stone poison though.
So Asher, the Cure 4 went off on the red mage, Carrie smacks the red mage, immediately opens up with sleep 2 the next round. Asher just completely resets out of that. That is a big time.
Looks like dengwoo doing a little bit of inventory management after he does his class promotion, and it looks like both of his 2 light warriors are still wearing chain armor, or I mean iron armor. I wonder if he's going to realize, or if he wrote down that silver armor was available in Melmond for 3,000, and he could easily go pick those up, which would be a whole lot better than the iron armor that he's currently wearing.
Question in chat, yeah, Asher completely wiped that. Oh, not necessarily wiping, but after you get hit by sleep 2 and you have only 1 light warrior left, you're better off just resetting and just not wasting your... Asher and the waterfall gonna go ahead and grab the, what was it, TNT there. Dengwoo coming up on the serious tiger uppercut because it's the level.
We'll get to see what's maybe behind these other chests here at the waterfall.
We will potentially see that coming up right here as soon as the Undead Cockatrice party pack is...
Looks like dengwoo's gonna go ahead and do a little bit of shopping. Maybe we'll see him buy the armor at Melman, but now that he's got the class promotion, he's gonna go buy those black magic spells for his thief, as well as whatever he can on the fighter at this point, just to get ready to go.
So the Thor hammer was something that dengwoo skipped. The ice sword grabs the TNT, 1 more chest.
Ice sword's not a bad weapon at this point with our with what we have available for weapons right now. Finding the ice sword is a huge improvement.
Absolutely. And then there's a silver dagger, but takes the rest of the stuff and just wanders out. Has to deal with the undead party pack again, but only 1 cockatrice.
I wonder if dengwoo's also going to remember Canaria. He could potentially go back, and he could buy, now that he's got the class promotion, get that exit, which would make a huge improvement on being able to get in and out of locations.
Interested in doing some level 5 shopping instead. Fast and Brack right there.
My only hope for dengwoo is he please stops by the armor shop just to see, or I'm just gonna have to yell at the screen, which I'm gonna have to do.
So yeah, Mazumian is something that we haven't found yet. Do you keep checking stuff, looking for it? I mean, Asher doesn't have much in the way of... Cure 4 on the night, definitely a smart play right there. Speaking of smart plays, we haven't seen Lamp anywhere yet, so it's probably not viable, and I doubt these run...
I just feel like at this point, dengwoo's got one thing on his mind. He needs to get these spells, he needs to get them fast, and he needs to start diving Fiend Dungeons, I feel is what's going on in his head right now.
Definitely gonna restock on the wonderfully cheap houses this run. I'm glad they're actually 600 and not something like 3,000.
One thing I noticed too is I didn't see if Invis 2 was available for Magic, because I know right now we have not found the defense sword, or it looks like the white shirt hasn't been found either. And Asher's going to get the bad news that both these key items are right here next to each other after searching all those other chests that just weren't needed.
Definitely probably feeling behind at this point.
Yeah, at this point, knowing that you had the floater for a bit and you just passed on this, I could definitely see feeling behind at this point.
This knight is going to be completely loaded with spell slots. Temper and Nuke on level 2. That ninja's probably going to be staying up, I would think, for this particular, at least for Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, even if he's not doing anything other than casting a nuke or throwing out a temper, tempers will be huge useful on fighting things like Chaos or Kraken or even Tiamat 2 and Temple of Fiends, if nothing else, just a buff.
Asher continuing to check the items here. Goes straight to the left room first. Now, there was a mage staff and a heal staff in here. Not much else, though. Question in chat. Yeah, I think it's time to start actually hunting fiend dungeons and not necessarily doing overworld item checks, especially when you find both items.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, my only concern right now is dengwoo's got some decent armor for his light warriors, except that iron armor that he's rocking on both of his on his knight and I just wish he had something a little bit more, a lot better than what he's wearing, considering, like I said, silver armor was available early on for 3,000, and it's not like these runners are lacking any money by any means.
So Asher picking up the ribbon, right? Dengwoo completely making the smart play, not checking the second level of Volcano, instead going down to the 4th floor. Skipped straight past all of these as well, even though stopping at the free ones. There's the wizard staff.
I think at this point, Dengwoo's probably going to pick up the free chests that don't require any step manipulation, or just maybe 1 or 2. Because like I said, I mean, he probably wants, dragon armor, opal armor. He'd be happy with ice armor or flame armor. So
there's the adamant right there for Asher. Completely, wonderfully right there.
Asher's gonna get his 3rd ribbon. So that'll be a huge advantage, having that extra ribbon for his light warriors that dengwoo doesn't have access to, because he did not check that top chest in Temple of Fiends.
Here's an Agama fact. Agamas, in fact, have fast on them. They feel like running fast because they saw the Sonic the Hedgehog. Value bottle right there, too. Hooray!
Fires with that lovely roost spell. Dengwoo deciding, I'm not going to check the red D chest, I'm just going to go right for Carry, and he's about to get the knowledge that Asher already has, that Carry 1 came packing the spell list today.
Not much in that item shop right there in Gaia. Dang, trying to take out the Quad X on the Red Giant. Now we saw what Carry 1 had. Carry 1 had Blizzard and Blaze. She wasn't playing around. Dengwoo is about to find out the hard way what this.
Alright, Dengwoo enters his carry fight. Let's see what he's gonna do.
Fast on the night, 143, swinging the Vorpal, Mage Staff 18, not that much. Temper goes off on the night. Powering up. We're gonna have to blast this thing quick because she doesn't mess. Nuke 169, hold ineffective. We have another nuke, 219. Good damage on that one. Vorpal swing, 6 hits, 331. Not quite dead yet. She rolled high. 6 hits. That looked like about 875. Yeah, Vorpal. When that thing crits, oh boy, does it bypass. Carry 1 goes down. We have our first orb at 1 hour 6.
Looks like Dengwoo's like, you know what, I'm right here, let's go get Earth out of the way. What a great place, so he doesn't have to bypass or backtrack and come back this way. So, and he knows he's got all the items, so it's just a matter of just getting down there, getting lich, getting the orb, and moving on.
Definitely agree with that. What a great race we have here tonight. Again, it's been an honor and a pleasure working with the Tonight Practice. What a run these two.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I feel like at this point, Dengwoo's just a little bit ahead, but Asher, I feel, because he does have the knowledge of carry, he doesn't have to dig all those chests now that he's found the 2 loose items. He's going to do a little bit of shopping here, but I still feel like Asher's starting to make up some of that lost time that he had at the beginning. So I feel like it's going to be a really close entrance all the way into Temple of Fiends, and then at that point it's just going to be a race to chaos. So
Our tracker noting that Asher does have to go through Ice Cave again, even with... Certainly thank you tonight for your time spending with Deng flying through Earth Cave. No need to stop here. Checks the free chest though. Finds a heal helmet for the trouble. That's not terrible. Definitely an improvement over the silver helmet.
yeah, definitely an improvement for sure. And the nice thing is if he decides to put the ribbon on, say, the fighter, he can still take that heal helmet and equip it on the ninja, because it is usable by the ninja. Dengwoo coming up on everybody's favorite mini boss, the vampire. Will he check? Will he? Yeah, exactly. Will he check the chest though? Since he's in go mode, will he take the extra 2 steps, check that chest, or will he not?
I don't see a reason why not.
Asher gonna check the first floor of Earth Cave, which I'm not sure why, considering he already has the 2 loose items, and I feel this is the worst place to check for chests once you have both loose items.
Yep, there you go. Just $200 though. Nothing's... Dengwoo down to the 4th floor of wonderful Earth Cave here. Just to skip the treasure room. Not a bad play here. Definitely
all those bats in one location, so he didn't get jebaited by the bats, which on this floor can be a huge problem coming down here. So lucky for him, he was able to get through that 4th floor fairly easily, it looks like.
Asher actually going back to the cone area locked rooms. Looks like we're going to find that Vorpal Power Monk right here. You're going to be happy about...
This will be a huge find for Asher, because I'm assuming he's still probably, wonders where the Massa is, wonders where the defense is, maybe the Power Bonk, which he's going to find, or the white shirt. So that is going to be a huge pickup for him, because everybody loves that Power Bonk.
There you go, Mage Staff strats on Lich 1, 3 hits, not that much. Nuke goes off, 151, terminated, no problem. For the punching bag lives up to the hype.
And chat. And meanwhile, on the other side, we had a Lich fight, but if you were looking at the other screen, you probably missed it.
Yeah, Lich 1 not packing much at all. We didn't even see any spells or anything, so... all the easier.
And he must have rolled low hit points, because I only saw 2 attacks go off, and the nuke was only for 151. I couldn't imagine the other attack being much more than that, and he was just paper thin, I guess, this time.
One of our members of the community, Kyukatsuki, laundry day, purple robe is complete, now to dry. Oh.
My concern is going to be, though, Kraken, because we just saw a nasty carry. But I'm curious to see, is Kraken 2 going to live up to Kraken 2? Or is it going to be like that Lich 1 we just fought?
Seems like a coin flip. It's completely random with this one. There's that Unreadable Pirates and
because really, other than like the start, we only had a couple bumps in the road. One being the Thunder Imps at the very beginning, and the horrible encounter manipulation. And then I would say the next thing was probably that ice cave dive. Had some pretty unpleasant things in it, along with the carry one that we fought. So I still feel like the seed needs a little bit something, maybe towards the end, whether it be in Temple of Fiends, maybe it be Tiamat or Kraken 1, but I feel like we need a little bit something, towards the end to finish off this seed that we've had.
Guards holding up the riot shield, completely unrunnable at this encounter, but go down pretty quickly. Who knew that casting giant lightning bolts from your hands would stop the police? Asher running back into the earth cave here. Pretty smart play. Definitely would probably not check any more chests.
No, I think at this point, I mean, he might take a few fights if he's under-leveled, but I think he's just ready to go claim the orb and kind of get back on track. So. Dengwoo side, his fighter Gregory just falls over. And no access to life spell, so what's he gonna do? Is he gonna just check these chests and maybe get out? Go res this guy and come back?
I think that'd be the better play here, because we're not too far up on this particular dungeon. Catman hitting kinda hard, but...
And Life 2 were both locked out, I believe, at level 6, correct?
Yes, Life and Life 2 were level 6. Unrunnable Cerberus, that's unfortunate. But yeah, the Dragon Sword, summon the robot. You know what to do. Having to take a full 2 nukes in order to down the Cerberus, though, that's really squishy. Of the anti-squish variety. Opal armor, not that bad of a fight. Fortunately, gets out of the Mirage Tower. Gonna go back and take care of that red.
And our tracker Hierophil is saying in chat that it looks like one of the life spells was learnable at level 6, but I could have swore I saw Life and Life 2 at 2nd and 3rd slot, and I think level 6 it's only the top slot, unless I misread that one of them was in the top slot. If so, then it will be learnable by the Red Wizard.
Tracker pointing out level 6, 2, 3, and 4 white, only top slot for black. There we go. That's the good info. Sorry.
Okay, so then it's the opposite of what I said. So then I was, I guess I misheard. So yeah, definitely, if they go back to Crescent Lake, definitely pick up that life spell. But I wonder if either of these runners are aware that that's available to them.
Was that a mini boss? I didn't see it. Wonderful community members cycle to you. Meanwhile, the speed bump. Yeah, I don't even think we hit a speed bump. That thing just went completely down for the... Bane Sword strats for Asher, though. Or excuse me. Equipped on Asher. Haha.
These unrunnable guards for Dengwoo. Luckily, he does have Lightning 3, since Lightning 3 usually will take them out, but unrunnable, I mean...
Dengwoo looks to be going deeper into the Mirage Tower and going up into the sky.
Yeah, this will be a fairly fast play for Dengwoo, whether he went here or to Anrak to the Sea Shrine first, because literally they're both like next to each other. Once he finishes here, he'll go to the airship, he'll fly about 5 squares roughly, and he'll land and make that long run to the Sea Shrine. So both of these Fiend dungeons are fairly close to each other.
Unrunnable wings. That's what was actually giving us such a problem downstairs, but... Dengwoo taking him out with Fire 3.
If you guys pay attention on the left side of your screen, we are going to have Lich, but I don't expect him to be up very much longer, so make sure you get a good look before and he's gone.
That's about maybe 300 max HP, not a big bump at all. Asher lighting up that earthworm.
Yeah, Cyclone has it right. Oh, look, guys, it's... Oh, wait, never mind.
First orb at an hour 17, though. Gotta feel something's a little bit.
Well, like I said, that carry one was just unbelievable for a fiend. You know, you expect that if a fiend is going to be nasty like that, you usually see it on like Tiamat, but more importantly, down in like Temple of Fiends, you don't expect to see, you know, one of the top first floor fiends, you know, pack in Blaze and Blizzard and everything else.
Question in chat, what did carry 2? Yeah, that was carry 1 had Blizzard and Blaze. That was pretty.
Dengwoo finding the mass man.
Gotta feel
And
confident.
Sky Tower.
2 ribbons, massive, Vorpal, go, go, go. Don't even stop for anything anymore.
Yeah, I think Dengwoo's days of checking chests are slowly coming to an end. Maybe coming up here on the last floor, he might check that one room that doesn't really take but a couple steps that has 4 chests in it. I could maybe see him checking that, but otherwise I feel like he's going to be straight go mode.
Yes, indeed. What are chests anymore to Dengwoo? Just keep going. Go, go, go. Asher taking the walk down to get revenge on Carrie for that complete stop. Massa was on the Sky Cap.
So Massamune was in the far right box on the first floor of Sky on the left-hand side.
And then Vorpal and Powerbonk are right next to each other in the Helocked of Corneria Castle as well. What a seed for weaponry. Oh. Five hits, 178 from Carry. 3 hits, 197. Fast, tempered.
Oh, and his ninja ghost falls over dead. 103?
7 hits, 248. Cure 4 goes off, fortunately. Carry 226 for 6 hits. That's quite the beef right.
Excal on Dengwoo's side in exactly the chest room that I thought he would check right there. And he finds Excal, so has access to Massamune, Vorpal, and Excalibur.
Oh yeah, those 3 characters are completely loaded for weaponries. No problem.
Basically, Dengwoo has the trifactor of weapons at this point, so, I mean, other than we're still rocking the iron armor, I mean, maybe he's in it to win it with that iron armor, but that would be the only thing at this point I could maybe see him wanting to upgrade, so.
So Asher actually trying to move the encounter table before going into the Ice Cave. Veteran moves right there. Have a War Mech sighting though. Hooray!
Everybody's favorite robot chicken.
It just doesn't want to be recycled. Because in Forest it'll go things like no disassembly. Fast temper go off, power bonk.
Alright, Dengwoo, you need to kill him, but for the fans, let's get you a second one back to back.
Warmech with nuclear completely blasting spells that back to the 4th dimension. Temper goes off though, starts swinging quick. 6 hits, 720-ish. That's enough for that tin can. Warmech gets recycled for Dengwoo.
16,000 XP.
Yes, Warmech is indeed a powerful tool for XP if you have the ability to survive.
Level 21 for all of his Light Warriors, which is a respectable level at this point, so.
Hey look, Metal Slimes. This isn't Dragon Warriors. SVJ joining us from the chats after just getting finished with his race. Congratulations for finishing, regardless of what the outcome was. Dengwoo completely going into Tiamat 1. Let's see what she has on store for us and our Light Warriors today.
Meanwhile, Asher going back through Ice Cave to pick up his chime.
Alright, spells coming off. Here we go. Little bit of optimized menuing. Mazumune swing, 3 hits, 120 something, 4 hits, 76 from the fighter there. Temper goes off, but so does a stun time. Fire 2, nothing special there. Cure 4 back on the knight to be able to get back on top of things. Three hits. I didn't see that. It looked like 18 damage or so. Fast goes off. 8 hits, 375. Sleep goes off. Hits 2 of the light work. Dark goes off. Poor ninja there got hit by the darkness. No power of lamp to save. Fire 2 again from Tiamat. Nothing special. 8 hits, 413. Quad X goes off. Terminated. Dengwoo finishes off Tiamat 1, heading on out of the sky.
That red mage putting in overtime there with all those Cure 4s. Definitely the MVP of the Tiamat fight there.
Mid for 158, poor steak is completely overdone and completely inedible.
Both of our warriors
go into Sea Shrine.
Yeah, looks like Asher decided to hit Sea Shrine first, and Dengwoo's right there behind him. Although Dengwoo does have the advantage right now of the one additional orb, but like I said, Asher is going to go ahead and looks like he's going to go right for Kraken. Maybe check the spell, see if there's anything insignificant here. Warp at level 7.
It's a good pickup right there, and there's the power of Lamp. Unfortunately, it's in spell slot.
Everybody's favorite spell, I Am Lamp. If he would have been able to pick that up, definitely a veteran move there.
That's the most expensive lamp I've ever seen, though, at 46,000. Who's Agonum?
A link to the link to the past.
No, I know. We have Chaos and we have the 4 Fiends. I don't think we have anybody named Agonum in this particular.
Dengwoo thought about going and checking that chest. Now he says, you know what? That's right. I just need to get the orb and get out of here.
Chat definitely well versed in our particulars for the Zelda 3 randomizer. We do welcome everybody that's actually just a fan of randomizers in general. What a seed we've had so far. Pretty much an hour 26 in. Our runners are starting to wrap this up a little.
Indeed, a very interesting seed. And I think what makes the seed so interesting was finding both loose items in Cardia Isles before either runner really dove any of the Fiend dungeons. So at that point, it was a matter of which chests do we check for which gear. And usually you don't have that. Usually you go through, you do the Fiend dungeon as you see in logic, and you check the chest until you find the loose item. But both the loose items being given to you really made it to where, like, you know, how are these runners going to route? And that's where I feel like we saw a big deviation in the routes there.
Chat pointing out, yes, Lamp is indeed the brightest call you could ever make. Unfortunately, spending 46k for it is not exactly dim on the... Dang, checking one of the greed chests, only about 1400 gold there, nothing.
Now the real question is Dengwoo going to check the free chest in the Sharknado room, or is he going to say, you know what, I'm done with this seed, I'm ready to recycle it, let's just get it over with?
Oh no, there's no doubt in my mind dengwoo is completely in go mode for like. I wouldn't even check the Sharknado. Yes, don't throw any of the fans inside of Kiri 1 because she had Blizzard and Blaze. That wasn't fun at all for anybody, let alone just the runner.
Asher quickly approaching Kraken 1, so it won't be long and we'll actually get to see if Kraken 1 is going to play nice or if we have potentially a second carry fight. I also did see that Asher bought Life 2, so having access to the Life 2 on the Red Wizard could be beneficial in Topher, especially if dengwoo didn't purchase it or doesn't realize he can purchase it. That could be a huge advantage to Asher for Topher Dive.
Kraken opening up with damage poison. Kind of not scary with that many particular ribbons. Six hits, 617 on that. We have ourselves a simultaneous Kraken 1 fight though. Brack-Strats goes off. Asher completely finishes it.
Let's see if dengwoo can get the Brack-Strats, and we'll have double Brack broken to pieces. Nope, he's going strictly for the temper buff up, 229 for the first hit. Fast goes off, temper goes off, another temper goes off.
Triple nuke coming out. There's the damage poison.
Nuke for 256, another nuke for 128. And this fighter was 799 with 8 hits, and Kraken is sent back to the bottom of the sea.
But the lobsters refuse to let dengwoo go without a sacrifice. Black Mage.
At just under 1 hour 30 minutes, dengwoo lights his 4th orb. Probably going to do a little bit of shopping here, get all of his supplies that he needs, and he's going to be the first one, I believe, to enter Topher. So
doing some last second item world shopping here. I don't blame him. Asher going ahead and climbing up the Mirage Tower. Only one more thing left to do, but finding that particular sword on the first floor of Sky. Will Asher find them?
I think Asher's in. You know what? I feel behind. I'm going for it. I think he's not checking any chests at this point.
And you are indeed correct. Asher is definitely heading up top to head to the second floor. Dengwoo finished item shopping, heading straight down to the Temple of Fiends. Well, dengwoo does have the Massa, so at least we saw it that one time.
I think the only thing at this point that's going to help Asher at this point is how terrible is Temple of Fiends Revisited going to be. If dengwoo did not buy Life 2 for his Red Wizard, and he has to reset out because it's bad and any of his Light Warriors die, that could give the advantage to Asher because he did purchase it for his Red Wizard for level 6.
That is 100% true. Dengwoo running into some unrunnable worms though. I mean, it's only single targets, but every little speed bump is going to give a chance for Asher to catch just a little.
At this point, you're in go mode. I mean, you only want to stop, you only want to kill the fiends if you can and just get away. So any sort of encounter you have to stop for that's unrunnable means resources being used. Potentially, you know, you could die and have to reset out depending on how bad these encounters are or aren't. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing is like resource management coming down. If there's just an ungodly amount of unrunnables, it can really tear into your resources.
Speaking of resources, Deng decides to take a couple fights on the first floor of Temple of Fiends Revisited, exits out, uses the house, saves up. Wanted that little bit of extra levels. I don't exactly blame him for that.
And it looks like, I think that was 21 for his light warriors. So we'll see. We'll see how he fares coming down here at 21.
Ooh, stun touch on the Phantom though.
Are we going to see a second robot chicken by Asher? And it does not look like it. He gets a couple airs and then right to Tiamat.
Question in chat. The mezzanine was on the first floor of Sky Tower. Asher completely flew straight through it.
Yep, it was in the left room on the rightmost chest on the first floor.
Brack on Tiamat 1 broken into pieces. Asher makes a quick move out of that. We have ourselves a race here because Asher is not that far behind dengwoo.
He is not that far behind, and he doesn't really have to do much shopping. It looks like he's got to buy about 10 or 11 heal pots, maybe do just a little bit of inventory management, but otherwise good, and dengwoo has to reset out.
Chat pointing out Chimera's Death Touch. That's not fun because even though they are runnable, they tend to come in groups of 2 with 2 Chimeras. Still not something you want to see. Oh god, there's the...
And then, speaking of which, this is what we were talking about. If Asher comes in here and gets the life or the death touch, he does have some life 2 spell charges, so it could, you know, be the make or break at this point. So it looks like he's got one charge.
One charge can be all it takes to get that fighter back up to something potentially next.
Yep.
Goes ahead and heads back down to the lower level. As Asher is getting ready to enter the Temple of Fiends, not too much far behind considering Dang had to come back in here multiple times.
Dang entered Temple of Fiends at I think about 1:30ish, so it's 1:34, so he's entering about 4 minutes behind, but with dengwoo having to reset out, they're basically neck and neck at this point.
Yes indeed. Asher about to potentially find out where those chimeras are. Because we do see that floor more than...
And this is one of the reasons I really wanted to commentate this is because, like I said, I really enjoy playing races and doing stuff with these guys, but these guys have played a lot of races together, so although we saw Deviant route pass, within just a couple minutes they're still entering Topher basically neck to neck, and it's just going to be an unbelievable race from this point on to see who can grasp that win by taking out Chaos first and foremost.
Actually, choosing to take a small step and check out the metal slimes for some extra. Pretty strong strategy, because as you remember for Dragon Quest / Warrior fans, slimes have a ton of XP on them for them.
And dengwoo, just like every battle I see dengwoo in is those chimeras, they're like out to get him today. But he will finally make it to the Lich floor for the first time.
Here we go, the dreaded Green Medusa is the potential mascot of our tournaments. Unfortunately, it's not in the actual straw poll itself, but she's definitely there in spirit for us.
As dengwoo hits 24 on his fighter, and it looks like his ninja. But Green Medusas aren't a bad fight. Usually you can take them out with like a mage staff sometimes, Thor's hammer, and they're worth a lot of XP.
It's generally a pretty good strategy if you have something like Exit or a ton of warp charges to just blast some Green Medusas for a little while if you feel like you're extra. Both runners are definitely taking advantage of that right now for some extra.
Both runners on the same earth floor. dengwoo just a little bit farther ahead than Asher, but not by much. Almost holding hands at this point and saying, you know, let's just go through Topher together.
So Green Medusa's had about 14 hits on some of those, but it wasn't much damage, so thank goodness for our runners being pretty... Here comes Lich too, though. General rule of thumb for everybody that plays this randomizer: never respect Lich or Lich 2 because you have the potential to get burned. Only having about 500 HP though.
Yeah, almost as paper thin as Lich 1. A little bit more beefier, but in hit points, but that's about it.
Dengwoo chooses to nope out of the Agamas.
Dengwoo, I feel like he's getting nervous at this point, considering how bad we saw Carry 1 to be, wondering if he could be running into deja vu at this point and getting another terrible carry.
Speaking of terrible carries, dengwoo actually leveling down on the equipment a little bit. This is a potential strategy I'm not sure. Ooh, there's the Inferno. Fast goes off, goes for the Quad X, then a Quad X again, ineffective.
Asher going with the meme strats, trying to get that Quake to land. Does not land the first time on Lich 1. Let's see if he does it a second time. And carry with crack.
Lich 2, not exactly hungry for cake, but yeah, crack on carry too. Both iterations of carry had some sort of major dangerous spells, particularly this one. But fortunately, most of the party is protected from it. Especially with wall axe. Dang, making a really good optimization of using wall definitely helps protect against the elementals. Carry opens up with Inferno for Asher.
And his fighter dies. Oh, this is bad news this could be bad news for Dengwoo.
That is not something you want to see going on right here. We want both of these runners to be as close as possible just for an exciting finish, but
At this point,
you are definitely right about the Life 2 thing.
At this point, do you think he just says, you know what, Ninja, you're gonna have to do the job now, and he maybe promotes his Ninja up and tries to get the job done that way, or do you think he's gonna maybe reset out? Maybe he's gonna see what the other fiends have, maybe for the knowledge, but I don't know.
This has to be an information dive at this point. You're losing your main source of damage mitigation.
And it looks like Asher's been promoted.
The question is which Asher is gonna win. Asher having a relatively easy time with the seafloor though. But as we saw, Carry definitely took both. We're down to 2-man strats on Asher's side. Oh boy. This is scary for both of our runners. We might actually see a reset here.
At this point, they could both potentially reset and have to start over. I mean, this is actually crazy. They're both going to try to take it. We got 2-man strats on Asher's side with a Black Mage and a Fighter. Dengwoo losing his Fighter is going with the Ninja Red Mage Black Mage. And let's see if they can pull it off.
Especially these runners, all the luck right here. They're both going to need it for the rest of this. Here comes Kraken 2. No Invisible 2. This is going to be a complete damage. Kraken opening up with Lightning 2. Nothing there.
But this is what you want to see. You want to see like Lit 2 starting out. Not so much nuclear, but Kraken doing spells is what runners want to see.
With spells like nuclear in the pool, you are indeed right about that. Asher down to 1 character, resets out of the Kraken. Dengwoo resetting also. We have ourselves a complete neck-and-neck race.
And it's back-to-back all over again. Dengwoo's like, you know what? I can't let my buddy start over by himself. If we're in this, we're doing this co-op style. So he resets out, and they're going to come back, and they're going to go down, and they're going to just, like I said, hold hands all the way down.
Now, with the particular reset that dengwoo did, it removed the prior, I would say, unoptimization of the weaponry back to the 3 that are there right now, which is the more optimal play, which is like the Purple Line Ninja, the Knight on Massa, and then, or excuse me, the Excal on the Knights. I like what dengwoo did and not adjusting it again.
It looks like they're both. It appears that they are on the same like manipulation table at this point. So.
Yes, indeed. dengwoo taking a slight lead here, but as we saw, his particular fiend starting with carry 2. A lead this small means absolute.
At this point, I feel like it's going to come down to a little bit of execution, maybe some RNG, but at this point, they're going to want to be able to do their optimal menuing, their optimal casting spells, and things like that. Because being this close, 1 or 2 menu mishaps, could cost you the game at this point.
I'm scared. I need someone to hold my hand here for both of my runners. What a race here we have, folks. Again, hour 43, it's been an honor and a pleasure having you all welcomed here to Speed Gaining 4 for this incredible matchup between these two. As you saw, we saw the double reset. We are pretty much even for both of these runners. Be sure to give them a follow. They are putting on quite a show for you guys tonight.
And both these guys coming in here 2-1, both of these guys can feel the pressure. They both want this win, and whoever clenches out this win tonight clearly is going to deserve it at this rate, because this has been what a race.
So, just a little clarification for the chat here who may not know how our particular tournament system is set up for this one. You want to not be in a 2-win scenario going into week 5 for the simple fact that you have to play in multiple times in order to actually get into the brackets. 3 wins? Lesser so. You don't have as much to win in order to get in. And naturally, if there's only 1 win or no wins at this point, you have ourselves a pair of pom-poms you can use to cheer our other.
It looks like dengwoo choosing to take a couple extra fights for XP. I see this could be potentially a problem, as it is going to dig into his resources just a bit.
Fortunately, the Agamas with the top 3 endgame weapons have completely just smashed through all those Agamas and pretty much carry 2 being pulled for the second time for Ash. Asher knows not to mess around with this fight, only using the door hammer.
Both these runners, though, like I said, keeping us on our toes as to just how close of a game it is. You got dengwoo in the lead by 30 seconds here, then Asher comes in, pulls ahead for his 30 seconds, and it's just a constant forward back, and just keeping us on our toes here. And like I said, what a great race it's been.
Yes, indeed. More Agama facts coming out from the chat. No matter what side you look at an Agama from, it's always looking back at you. That is really creepy, having some 360.
And even the chat, you can tell, is getting excited. You got people going, dang, please, come on, do this. And then you got the other people going, Asher taking the lead. So, everybody's just cheering on everybody here. And like I said, I think when the conclusion comes, it's going to be a win that's been well deserved. So,
hey, Carrie had Blaze as well. Both of her forms did. 7 hits 364. Red Mage goes down. That's another reset for Asher. dengwoo steps back in.
The question here is at what point do you stop and maybe level up a bit, or go do a grind somewhere, get a few extra levels, maybe get the extra hit points, things like that? Or do you just keep diving and hope for better turn order?
Honestly, I would take a gamble with RNG. I'm someone that tends to go into Toph for around 20 to 25. Now the Ninja and Black Mage are both down for dengwoo. 2 priority strats left. chat calling for the nukes. Yeah, it's time to go on offense, and using wizard staff isn't exactly offensive. 7 hits, 615 though. Carry 2 goes down, but not without a price for damage.
Yeah, definitely paying the price. With 2 of his light warriors down, his resources basically just cut in half at this point.
For those that are just joining in for the finale here, Dengwoo does not have access to life to Asher.
If I was Asher at this point, with my red mage continuing dying, I may try to maybe switch it with the black mage and moving it down another slot to see if maybe the RNG of it getting hit is less, so that he does have access to the life spell.
Asher back on the earth floor here, Dang on the sea floor, getting this stun touch on the Wixahag floor. This is getting super scary. As a certain member of our community always said, you pay for a full seat, but you only use the edge.
Yeah, that's definitely clear in this seed right here. As I mean, I would say probably at least the last half hour, these guys have all had me on the edge of my seat with, like I said, a little bit of route divergence, but just coming together here at the end has just been crazy.
You see yourself not getting away because the red wizard, as I recall, has the actual worst run percentage. You gotta wonder if you want to just blast a couple of those encounters, because getting hit by 8 things in one turn, that might be a potential resource burn compared to 1 or 2 spells.
And we have in chat right here, ETAP saying he could exit, and that could be a good strategy considering he did get some XP. Does he, instead of reset out, does he just exit out, go revive his light warrior, save it, and potentially save the items that he for the levels that he already has obtained? I would like to plead the fifth on unrolling the seed.
Oh dear goodness heaven. This is why I don't roll seeds for tournament races, so y'all can't blame me. Punching Bag 2 goes down as Kraken 2 gets pulled for the 2-man party.
To be fair on the whole rolling of the seed, Dengwoo actually asked if I wanted to roll the seed, considering he rolled my garbage seed that was just hot garbage yesterday for my race. So he said if I wanted to roll theirs today, I could. So I did, and clearly it's a whole lot better than my race, but it does have some of its own garbage to deal with.
Kraken 2 with nuclear down to the knights. And then there goes Dengwoo. Asher goes back into the lead. What Dang is noping out. Takes a little bit. No, looks like we're going back in. No, we're not. Who knows? I think Dang was started on the ground.
He's got 100 things going through his head right there here, and he just can't decide. But I think you're right. I think he's trying to find a place to grind. Is he going to go to Agma or the eye tile, do you think? It looks like he's going to try and go get that eye tile, get some levels in, and go from there.
I would 100% take the ice tile over the actual volcano tile, because that is so much to walk back through in the volcano.
But having access to exit, I'm surprised he didn't choose to go to the... When you first enter Temple of Fiends Revisited, if you go to the left side and take the stairs there, it takes you inside the room on the earth floor, and he could sit there and try to farm the Gurmadusas, which give good XP, but they're not a static spawn, I think, is the only issue there.
Dengwoo buys life too. We have ourselves an even fold here for our runners. Now I am super excited to see where...
Turn of events, Dengwoo decides or realizes, wait, I forgot to buy something. Picks it up. What a good play for Dengwoo at this point, because he is still in the run.
Can't stop, won't stop. Asher completely noping out of that fight with Sharks. Pulls Kraken 2 in just a moment.
This Kraken 2 feels like it's been quite the gatekeeper on our runners today.
When you have Blaze on Carry 2 and you have Nuclear on Kraken 2, what does friggin' Tiamat 2 have? What does she have that could completely destroy our runners now? Nuke is still on the table. Swirl, Tornado, all this fun stuff. I'm scared.
Speaking of fun stuff, have we seen Cure 4 yet? Because if not, that could potentially be on the table as well.
You are very right. Cure 4 is on the table. We only saw Cure 3 earlier on Trash. Here's another Kraken 2 poll, this time with all 4 members up. Oh, scratch.
Goes right for the red mage every time. Asher just cannot win on Kraken with that red mage.
As we know, Life and Life 2 are level 6, so this is definitely going to be swing for the fences. Oh, the Nuclear goes off. Blast the Ninja too. Black Wizard down to 17 HP. Bane strats. Nope.
Chat noting.
Lightning.
Casual 563 damage from Kraken.
8 hits from Kraken 2. The Knight still stands, though, for help.
And you called this early, Lyra, when you said Chimeras like to group up with Chimeras. And in this fact, when they are grouped with Chimeras, they become unrunnable. And we know they have that death touch.
Ooh, Asher goes down to Kraken 2, chooses to run straight back. Heads to the left, though, when we know the entrance to the bottom floors is on the right-hand side. This could potentially be an EXP grind.
The double atomic Kraken, nuclear and nuke.
What a trip. Oh my god.
This has been one crazy Topher. I mean, to start it, we have Death Touch Chimeras, and like I said, when they are grouped with a Chimera, they become unrunnable. Worms are unrunnable, but they're just more of a speed bump. Then we have Lich, who is basically paper thin and easily just gone through. Then you get to Carry, and Carry, is a little tanky, has, I believe you said it was Nuke, or Blaze. Then you get to Kraken 2, and you're like, okay, the worst is over, but really the worst has just begun, because Kraken 2 has both Nuke and Nuclear. And as far as Tiamat and Chaos go at this point, we are just unsure, and Asher decided to take that Green Medusa, or Green Medusa farm that I said in the light on the Earth side, So
Asher is actually choosing to level up the Ninja that was completely neglected for the entire run. Gets leveled super quick in Temple of Fiends Revisited. As Denga is going to go ahead and try the luck against Lich too. And for those keeping score in the audience, no, I am not keeping track of how many times there's wipes tonight. This isn't the Medusa's part.
And while we see these guys struggle on the struggle bus through Topher, it's been about an hour since we did the recap, so I'll go ahead and do a second recap for anybody that might just now be joining as to how the seed kind of went. So starting out, we had Imps with Thunder. The manipulation table was just trash, so it was a difficult struggle to find a run long enough in order to get to Temple of Fiends. Asher was the only one that checked the treasure chest in Temple of Fiends, and in the top left we did find a ribbon. But the king gave us a crown. The ship was given to us by Sarah. When we traveled over to Provoca, it was actually Provoca. The pirates gave us the ruby. Elfland became the party town of Lefane, where everyone was just sitting there dancing in their togas. Astos from the Crown Turn gave us a slab. We went to Melmond, which actually was Melmond. We were able to talk to Dr. Un and get the translated slab. We then traveled back to Lefane, which gave us the rod. Turning in the ruby to the Titan's tunnel and talking to Sarda on the other side gave us the cube. Marsh Cave had the herb. The herb led to the loot. Traveling over to Crescent Lake was actually Crescent Lake. The old men there gave you the canoe. Onrak was actually Elfland, and it also held the vendor item, which was the floater for 10,000 gold. Ordeals gave us the Oxio. Both loose items were actually in the same Cardia aisle, which was the key, and the crystal. The crystal led to the ribbon. Ice Cave gave us the chime. The robot in the waterfalls gave us the TNT, which then led to the adamant, and the adamant led us to the bottle, which then a tiny fairy gave us the tail. And Gaia was actually Gaia. And now these guys are on the struggle bus in Temple of Fiends, trying to get past our gatekeeper, which appears to be Kraken, holding both nuke and nuclear tonight.
Very nice job on that very complex and very, very detailed recap. I much appreciate that, Praxis. You've been an absolute treasure tonight. Asher completes the grind. Looks to go ahead and go start save.
And on dengwoo's side, his fighter had decided, you know what, this has been a long trip down here. I'm just going to take a nap while lets his other guys, actually put in some work and, go from there. So, and the seafood party pack, this is probably the worst fight because you got 3 different mob types, and I mean they can just have, all different kinds of stuff. And in this case, we see the sleep witch doesn't seem to not want to land.
So Asher looks to be looking for that particular shot that had the pro ring. Also to restock on heal potions and stuff. Here's gold bracelets for 20k. I believe it's the first time we've actually seen those all right.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we've actually seen gold bracelets. So that'll be a huge pickup for his guy only rocking chain armor.
Absolutely.
But at 2 hours in, both these runners don't realize that they're basically both have the ticket for the same struggle bus, and they both got to be thinking, oh man, am I actually in the lead? What's going on? Are they having as much trouble as I am? No one's done yet. Like, am I missing something at this point?
So yeah, we've pretty much lost count of how many have ran up here so far for both of our runners, but Asher did take a huge grind on the earth floor on the left side when you enter into the staircases.
It looked like he leveled to what, 23, 24, which is fairly odd. He must have came in here lower level because dengwoo was only, I think, 23 when he first got here and 24 after he killed a few things. So Asher must have been way under leveled because I realized too he only had that 1 life 2 charge, where I think at this point dengwoo had like 2 or 3 charges on his red wizard, so that could have been what the grind was for too.
dengwoo drops Kraken too. We're gonna go ahead and see Tiamat too. Only 2 people left alive though. We have ourselves a real race going on. Three light warriors up. We're gonna go ahead and pull the wonderful Tiamat too, who I'm sure has been quite patiently waiting for both of our runners to make. After getting held up a little bit on the unrunnable worms, they have frost on them. That's not so much for either party member. Tiamat Bane drops 2.
Bane at the start. That's crazy. That 1 light warrior he rezzed had no use because he died, like literally the beginning of the battle.
Big hit from the fighter.
Fire 3 not so bad. Tiamat with the stun. Luckily, doesn't go through the ribbon, which I believe is what, 2 and 256 chance?
3 and 256, which amounts to a little bit less than 1%. But Tiamat 2 goes down, not so tanky compared to Carry and Kraken. We're gonna get to see ourselves the first Chaos here, folks, at 2 hours, 2 minutes, potentially. With the unrunnable fight here, looks to be about 2:04.
Oh, gotcha. And Shadow Walker is actually in chat saying that stun actually can only hit characters with 300 or less hit points that don't resist status. No % chance to it. Okay, that I did not know. So thank you so much for that.
Chat helping us out here with the particular analytics and very fine details of the randomizer. So if you haven't joined the Discord yet, please feel free to, for the simple fact that there's tons of people like our dear Shadow Walker here that are ready to help out everybody that wants to come into our particular community. Links will be right there in the chat for you. Just type in the command, you're good. Special thanks to Zardia for giving us that particular. Stun, Quad X, and Blind all working the same way. Good to know. Good.
dengwoo finally breathing a sigh of relief, even if it's just momentarily, until we get to see this chaos.
It looks like the worms potentially took out that third party member, unless that was Tia 2, and we're gonna have ourselves a 2-person. Power Bonk going off. Invis 2 strats, 2 hits 162 from Chaos. Not that bad. Dang leaving the fighter in the top party slot, which is the highest chance to be targeted for this stuff. That's pretty high gamble right here. Cure 4 goes off. Ice 3, not that much damage.
Red Wizard putting in work getting that Invis 2 up though, so
That's probably why. Just wanted to make sure. Oh, Chaos hits 104 from. Fast goes off on the knight who's been power blocking for the past couple turns. Temper goes off. Let's start singing the swinging. 3 hits 436 from. The rare miss on the Chaos. That's some high evasion.
that's what you don't want to see. You don't want to see a big hit and then a miss right after.
Fortunately, Chaos not rolling high on accuracy. Chaos doesn't hit swinging very hard either. 331, only 1. This is some very high evasion Chaos, which is something that Vorpal is actually particularly well suited for. Swing 4 hits 611. 4 hits 251. Down goes Chaos. We have ourselves a winner, and it is. Get your GGs out in chat, folks. 205.54. What an incredible race we had tonight.
A well-deserved win on dengwoo's side. Well fought, executed, and was able to clinch the win. As it looks like Asher actually got through his Kraken fight, so he's going to move on to Tiamat, and as long as everything goes well, we're going to see him right behind dengwoo, so. And it looks like we got dengwoo joining us. GG, sir.
GG. I have to admit that was probably the worst Topher playing I have ever played, and that was great.
A well-deserved win on your part. At least for the last 35 minutes, 40 minutes, you both were holding hands to Topher, resetting at almost exactly the same time, rediving on the same encounter table. What happened on one side happened on the other. Like, it was such an incredible race the last 30-40 minutes of just how it was executed and just everything that could have went wrong with the Fiends going wrong and just having to reset. So, like I said, well-deserved win. GG, heck of a race.
Thank you. Definitely the life 2 is crucial. I wish the Chimeras would not have gotten that death touch off the start, because my whole plan was to, fast temper and just go right into it, but the Chimeras decided that they were going to kill off one of my guys instantly.
And Asher able to take out Tiamat 2 just right behind you. You guys both struggled for a long time. That Kraken 2 was definitely the gatekeeper for both of you. Although when you guys first started diving Topher, I actually thought Asher at that point was a little bit in the lead because he did have life 2, whereas you didn't. The problem was his red wizard kept getting killed off first, so having that access to life 2 didn't really matter at the beginning, but then you were able to realize, you know what, I need to go buy this. You bought it, came back, and then you were able to pick up that win there.
Yeah, I had forgotten to take in the notes. Notes are crucial while racing, and I completely forgot. I'm like, I have not seen life at all. Let's go check out the Crescent. And long and behold, there's life 2, and it's learnable.
Yep. I will tell you, the one thing you missed out on early on was you missed out on the top left chest of Temple of Fiends had a ribbon. So Asher was one up on the ribbons on you. And GG to Asher, finishing his chaos with 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 10 seconds. About 4 minutes right behind you. Like I said, heck of a race from both of you guys. A lot of work put in. And, I mean, like I said, the entertainment, especially the last hour, was just incredible to watch.
I can't believe I watched that with you guys. I can't believe you guys experienced that massive Temple of Fiends Revisited. What an adventure this.
The one thing I will say that I did like on your part, dengwoo, was at the very beginning, you guys got the crown and the ship. You took the ship to Provoca because you had the ship. You found Provoca, you killed the pirates, you did all that. But then you were like, you know what? Asher at that point was like, you know what? I'm checking Elflin. Elflin was a bust. And he did you guys did the Astos thing, but he actually went to Mars first. And you're like, you know what? I got the boat. I'm going to check out all the town, and found the floater first, which I thought was a good play on your part. And by doing that, you got a little bit ahead. But when you found both loose items, like literally next to each other, what was going through your head at that point?
I was just looking for an endgame weapon. Like I said, with the team comp I was going with, or wanted to go with, I really just wanted to power up my knight and just start swinging. And if I can kill them before they do any damage, perfect.
So I noticed that you were saving the Invis 2 charges for the later ones. That was definitely the smarter play, considering it was in such a high level.
Yeah, on top of all that, I had to keep casting Cure 4 and everything. Like, my Red Wizard probably was the busiest person in the entire thing. He was casting Cures, doing this, doing that, boosting. Oh my gosh. Red Wizard was a champ, but, I mean, I love my Black Wizard, though.
So, Asher joining us, and congratulations for finishing. What a close...
Thank you very much. That was a fire of white, and that was even before Temple of Fiends Revisited.
I do have to say, this has probably been one of the most interactive and awesome races that not only I got to experience, but got to commentate. Although you guys had a little bit of route divergence early on and in the middle, like, it was almost like you guys were playing next to each other. Like, it was so incredible. In the last 40 minutes, I could only imagine what was going through your guys' head as I was telling these guys, you guys were on the same encounter table going through Topher. You guys found the same exact, like, death touch. Reset at almost exactly the same time. And, I mean, it was just so incredible to watch you guys do that. And I know, like, playing it was probably aggravating, but definitely probably one of the best races that, like I said, not only did I get to experience, but also commentate for. So, definitely a good race.
Well, thank you. I'm not surprised. Deng is really good, and I'm not surprised at all that he's 3-1, and it's well deserved, especially with the seeds that he's had to survive so far. Deng, would you say this one was the worst of them, or the Wizards one earlier?
Well, it's funny is the Wizards awful early, but you know, once you got through it, you can kind of do it. This one was like, I could just travel through, do my thing, and then it was like Temple Fiends hits, and you're like, ow.
So, question from our tracker, Higher Fellows. Dang, how about that NASA equip? You basically leveled yourself down a little bit for one of the particular rushes that you made upwards in Temple of Fiends. Was that something of a misclick?
Yeah, I traded it, and because I just completely forgot to equip it on my knight, and I specifically wanted level 24 for that extra hit, and I was gonna bum rush carry, and as soon as I saw the knight swing his little fist, I was like, switch to nuke strats, and of course carry 2 happened to have like over 1,000 HP.
The one thing I will say to you, Asher, too, because I did say a little bit to dengwoo, was, for me, this was actually one of the very first seeds that I actually got to experience, where you guys found both loose items basically next to each other on the same Cardia aisle. And at this point, when you found it, you still hadn't really dove a ton of Fiend Dungeons at this point. When you came across that, what was going through your head as to, okay, I have all the items, which chest do I check now for gear, and which ones do I just leave?
Well, I saw those and I knew I was behind, because I can imagine a world where instead of go to Volcano or Ice first, I check the Cardia Islands first, get that from Onrak, but you can't necessarily that. Dengwoo obviously running into I ran to, but items. Let's see, I gotten turned back by waterfalls. I gotten had nothing in it twice. By ice that had nothing in it twice, and I could have saved myself that adversity just because the 2 loose items were there, but I quick succession between the crystal turn and another one on the Cardia Isle, and pretty much by not going first, I kneecapped myself pretty hard.
I will say, when you guys first, a timer went off, you guys first entered the town. White Magic, there was decent stuff. You had Cure 4, you had Exit once you got the class promotion. Then you go over to the Black Mage, and it was like, yikes. There was just not much to choose from. And then when you guys walked out and you got your first encounter with imps and they struck first with thunder, I was like, you know what? I rolled the seed. I think it's time for me to just get up and walk away. I was just like, wow, this is going to be a nightmare. But once you got past that, like I said, it actually ended up being a very good race to both commentate and be a part of and watch. I think the rewatch for both of you guys will be a lot of fun.
And to kind of go along with what you just said about the early levels, I literally spent 4 rounds and I got the kill on the imps right off the bat. It was a level 2, and I got combat right after, and then all of a sudden thunder out of nowhere. I was so salty.
Yep.
Yeah, it took me a really long time to find massive hero run, and it was tricky because it was only a massive hero run in the dungeon encounter table. But that helped save my bacon a little bit. The overworld, when you see imps with thunder, at least the silver lining is that imps are in very few parts of the world. Oh, okay, that's this kind of seed. Turns out that was just a precursor of things to come between all of the instant death everywhere.
Yeah, Ice Cave was very unpleasant. That was probably the next place I found you guys struggled with, was Ice Cave did not seem to be very, very pleasant. Or that Carry 1. What did you think about that Carry 1?
Carry 1 actually not as bad as Carry 2, but that's because Carry 2 is full. But let's see if I'm just remembering. I lived in one time, and because Carry 1 was beefy too. I mean,
yeah,
the thing that really
plays in what, Tornado or Swirl?
Yeah, really betrayed by was the beefy Agamas with Death Glare, because they kept popping up and they just kept killing my fighter. It was disappointing. Usually when I get nuke early, I think I'm just gonna nuke everything under the sun, and that did not work.
Yeah, and like before we get final thoughts here, the one thing I noticed too, and I was telling Lyra was the chimeras with Depth Touch and Topher just were unfriendly. But what made them even more unfriendly is if you got the encounter where they like to be with their significant others, the Gyras, they then became unrunnable. At least when the chimeras were by themselves, they had Depth Touch and you could run. But once they became unrunnable, yeah, it was not pretty.
So, Asher, again, congratulations on what an amazing race that was. Did you know? Would you have had your spider senses on for this one? Did you know you were steps away from the Mazamune? Would that have made this any easier for you actually having access?
Um, was like, okay, I'm Vorpal or me, and so
Since it was on the first floor of Sky, and you just completely flew past it, but
yeah.
still, I don't think it would have made much of a difference, but at the same time, when you have multiple weapons like that, I definitely feel like it just makes you a little bit more confident, takes those bigger gambles. I think you did the right thing in actually grinding up a little bit.
Yeah, because I ended up using the Vorpal for the fight anyways, which was hilarious because I tried to grind up to 24 for Masa, and then in the end I ended up using the Vorpal anyways.
Yeah, I ground to 24 on the earth floor in Topher, and that never feels good, but I lost in round 2 because my opponent, Ikben Maya, grinded there where I kept throwing myself against the seed, but at least there I made it to Chaos. I couldn't even make it past Kraken.
So again, congratulations to you both. Final thoughts. I'll start with.
Who are you starting with? I'm sorry.
Starting with you, Dan.
Oh, final thoughts. I hope you, the fans, enjoyed this because I have to admit, at 140 when I didn't see Asher had finished, I said I might have a chance, and then I managed to make every mistake possible in Temple of Fiends Revisited, and plus Carrie being semi-gatekeeper in Kraken. I mean, but beyond that, Speed Gaming, thanks once again for hosting us. Hyro Fellows, I believe, was our tracker. Thank you. And, you guys, the commentators, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We certainly did. Asher?
Oh, I just wanted to say that this is just one of those things where in the Swiss format, it's really interesting because it's 5 completely different head-to-head races, and I knew I had my hands full with Dengwoo, and he showed tonight. It's just the kind of thing where sometimes you can get through on these flags in an hour and 20 minutes and everything goes great, and sometimes you get level 2 nuke, level 1 cure 4, and it's still a Hall of Nightmares that takes over 2 hours. So I hope we provided quality entertainment. Thank you, Speed Gaming, for hosting the run. Thank you, Brax and Lyra, for commentating. Thank you to the restreamers as well, and thank you all for watching. So, Force Thief is fun, but I won't miss it.
And right before I let you send them off, Lyra, I just want to remind everybody real quick. Tomorrow we have 4 more matches on the Speed Gaming Network. They're going to be all in Eastern time zone. They're going to start at 1 p.m. with Doogie MacGyver and Sonya Wrath 11. Then at 8 o'clock we have 2 races. One will be Crab Cakes versus our own Shadow Walker 227, and then Wab 1024 versus Hyro Fellows. And then finally tomorrow at 9:30, or yeah, I think that 9:30. Gouda 632 versus Ali Gerbrap. So hopefully you guys get to tune in tomorrow for some of that. But until then, take it away. Send us out, Lyra.
All right, it's been an honor and a pleasure with you all tonight. For special thanks to Speed Gaming for having us, for our race streamer, our tracker. For Braxis, I'm the White Witch, Lyra, Asher, dang, you guys did amazing, and I know we will see you all week 5. Until then, see you all next mission. Stay safe. Love you guys. Good night.